dedicated to earthlings everywhere who labor and toil daily for food and shelter. Chapter 1. The Money Trap. Humans have been on this planet for a long time, and for as long as we have lived here, we have been working, laboring our life away. And for what? We have nothing to collectively show for all this hard work over billions of lifespans. We see nothing but more work and labor for future generations indefinitely when we look forward to the future. What happened here? Where is our equity as earthlings? It's as if we are stuck paying a mortgage that can never be paid off. We never gain any equity, and the bank still owns 100% of the house, despite us working and paying the mortgage for centuries. Why buy the house in the first place, if that is what will happen? A very depressing scenario when you look at it, indeed. This is the result of having a wealth of a few men surpass the combined monetary worth of entire countries. Most people don't realize that if an individual has millions, billions, or even trillions in their bank account just sitting there, that's not just money sitting in a bank. That is the collective equity of millions of years in human labor that is not doing anything for humanity. Once a person has surpassed the amount of money necessary to sustain their lives and the lives of their family for generations, then there is no use in having any more money just sitting in a bank somewhere collecting interest while not being put to work to relieve human strife. So how did this happen? Ambitious people have always found ways to accumulate wealth in the form of their time. So how is this different? Between the 9th and 15th centuries, Europe feudalism was the dominant social system. The nobility amassed private armies to take land from each other. They quickly realized that they could enrich themselves much easier by running a protection scheme on the common man to hand over control of their family lands. The scam worked by offering protection from foreign warlords in exchange for handing over held lands to the crown. In exchange for military service, independent landowners were in turn tenants of the nobles, peasants, villeins, serfs, and servants. Debt slaves were obliged to live on their lord's land and give him homage, labor, and a share of all crops and spoils from the land. Feudalism lasted until the Great Migration of Europeans to the Americas between 1492 and the 1800s. Approximately 2.6 million Europeans were happy to flee feudalism, many of them as indentured servants for the opportunity to become free landowners once again. Then, a significant economic change started in the mid-1800s. It was the Industrial Revolution. Before that, most skilled work was done by skilled tradesmen who were either self-employed or enslaved. There was only one way to get work done. A human or animal had to do it. But with the dawn of the Industrial Revolution, suddenly a third way to get a job done was invented, with machines and the development of factories. The economic shift moved leverage from slave labor to machine labor, and as a result, the world changed from an agricultural-based economy into an industrialized one. To capitalize on this new technology, the industrialist needed educated people to run the factories, operate the machines, and fix, build, and maintain the technologies. These industrialists, such as John Pierpont Morgan, aka J.P. Morgan, born April 17, 1837, the American financier and industrial organizer Andrew Carnegie, Steel, and John D. Rockefeller, an oil entrepreneur, played an essential role in the development of the new economic system. The industrialist influenced the government to organize a public school system to prepare a workforce for this new economy. This public school system was designed to give people a free compartmentalized education. smart enough to be helpful, but not well-rounded enough to be financially free, independent, or see the whole picture. Like the factories and assembly lines that created individual spokes that would be assembled into a wheel to be placed on a bicycle. As a result, men whose fathers were skilled, self-employed small business owners, plumbers, ranchers, butchers, blacksmiths, and so on, were converted to employees who worked for one of the giant consolidated industrial companies that ate them up and spat them out, while creating barons of industries and millionaires. Since then, the ordinary person has never earned much more than their family's living expenses. Many retired penniless, even to this day. The introduction of technology into the workforce sparked the Industrial Revolution beginning in the 1760s. According to Moore's law, technological efficiency grows exponentially year over year. For example, in today's technology, every 18 months, computer processing speed doubles. As a result, capitalists could capture the exponential increases in workplace efficiencies and stash it away in their bank accounts as money. Most of the money accumulated since that time was never infused back into the economy for the benefit of humanity. Industry barons like Henry Ford and his family became obscenely wealthy. Recent billionaires like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Bill Gates continue the same trend. Even generous charity is not enough to reverse this trend, not to mention the influence such individuals have over the trajectory of human society. During the 1920s, the automobile industry became the backbone of a new consumer goods-oriented society. By the mid-1920s, it ranked first in the value of the product, and in 1982 it provided 1 out of every 6 jobs in the United States. Every screw was screwed in by a human hand in the first cars. But as machines became more advanced, fewer humans were needed for the same work. Technology evolution allowed car manufacturers to reduce the human labor time required to produce an automobile by some units with each iteration. For instance, let's say 40 hours a week, which allows the company to fire 1 human worker to save the company money instead of laying off that human worker. What if the company simply reduced the work week from 40 hours to 39 hours for each human worker at the plant, while maintaining the same salary for all? The plant did not lose production capacity. However, it freed 1 hour of human time to enjoy life and raise a family instead of working. Imagine that this happened in every company and government worldwide, as more advanced technology and better machines take over more and more labor. Eventually, we could all have a 20-hour work week instead of a 40-hour work week, which would allow more time for everyone in the society to spend nurturing their children, learning new skills, and making discoveries that will further ease the strains of life. Eventually, we may all only have to work a few hours a month, perhaps even not for the first 30 years of our lives. Paying workers back with their own time is the most valuable and effective way to allow everyone to share in the equity of human advancement and ingenuity. It also prevents inflation completely. Sure, a few lazy people will sit at home and do nothing, but that's okay. The vast majority of people would pursue their passions to benefit us all. This is the effect that men like Andrew Yang are trying to achieve by advancing the concept of Universal Basic Income, UBI. Instead, the company owner uses less human labor to produce goods faster due to technological advances. The increased efficiency results in more enormous profits, that the owner places in his bank account. The owner's bank account size increases beyond what his family can use within their lifetimes. Most of the time, their money is just sitting in a virtual world seen as digits on a computer screen, doing absolutely nothing for anyone. Until the problem is fixed, Earthlings will be trapped in the debt of their birth. And make no mistake, debt is slavery. The only way to relieve debt is to pay it off, and the only way to make money is to work, and work for survival, forced labor. Traditional slavery was too expensive for the enslaver because they had to pay for the living expenses of the enslaved person. But in modern society, labor is controlled by wages, thus creating the self-financed slave, who is responsible for feeding, housing, and securing themselves. This type of slavery does not discriminate by race. Still, it enslaves all people from birth to benefit a few who manipulate wages and economic inflation from the top of the pyramid, while storing the sweat equity of most humans as digits inside a computer network displayed on their bank account screens. The capitalist ideology, documented by men such as Adam Smith in his writings, The Wealth of Nations, encourages each human to pursue their self-interest because it will produce a more efficient society. Yet capitalism has created a monetary-based economy that has a compound effect on both wealth and poverty. When we add selfishness and abuse of labor, it leaves us at the point where we are now, having nothing but our own labor remaining, which is what we started with a long time ago. It's not that capitalism is useless, but money itself became the measuring stick by which everything is valued within capitalism. This is dangerous because of the emphasis on the role of self-interest within capitalism and how it triggers the survival instincts within people that can be extreme if not balanced out properly. We value money itself instead of the things we buy with money. This type of society results in the majority of the best and brightest humans becoming saddled with student loan debt in an effort to qualify for higher wages, then becoming further trapped in a 9-to-5, wasting their intellect to make as much money as possible to pay their cost of living, rather than building and inventing creations that will assist with the evolution of humanity.